Hello, everyone. Imagine waking up in a world that's slowly turning gray. The buildings, the streets, the cars, your office, your classroom, and even your own home. Everything feels so dull, muted, and lifeless. Now ask yourself, how would you feel? Tired? Depressed? Anxious? Uninspired? Now imagine those same walls painted in colors like yellow, orange, blue. Feel how your mood shifts in just a few seconds. That's the silent power of color. The language our wall speaks every single day, even when we don't listen. I am here today because that's the reality for so many of us across the globe. Our surroundings are slowly and steadily losing its colors. And here comes the idea of the urban palette. It's about reimagining our public spaces through lens of color psychology. The idea of urban palette isn't just about adding paint to walls. It's about bringing science and emotions together. Color isn't just decoration. It is a language our brain already understands. Yellow energizes, blue calms, green restores balance, red warns or activates. But yet, when we design public spaces like schools, hospitals, colleges, bus stops, color is usually the very last thing we think about. But what if those same walls could smile back at you? What if every space you enter into could lift up your mood, spark creativity, and even make you feel healthier and cleaner? Sounds impossible? Not at all. That's the magic and science behind the urban palette. Think about how brands already use this power. Well, I hope that most of you have gone to McDonald's as well as Starbucks. Tell me, how much time do you usually spend at McDonald's? Probably around 15 to 20 minutes. But the moment you enter into Starbucks, something changes. Suddenly, you are there for 45 minutes or maybe even an hour, sipping, chatting, working, or clicking photos for your must Instagram post. Here's the exciting part. It isn't just about the food or the coffee, it's about the color. McDonald's wall screams in bright red and yellows, colors that make you feel hungry, alert, and even anxious. It subtly tells your mind, eat, move, go. Starbucks, on the other hand, speaks a completely different language. Warm browns, deep greens, soft lightings, colors that make you feel wrapped around in a cozy blanket. It whispers, slow down, stay a while. And that right there is the power of color psychology. It doesn't just shape what we see, it shapes how we feel, how we act, and even how long do we stay. Let me show you all another very, very interesting image. Well, you will be surprised to know that this is a jail, a pink jail. This jail isn't pink because the jailer is a super Barbie fan. Well, in US and Switzerland, some prisons have used what is called as the Baker's Miller pink, a soft bubblegum pink on cell walls. Why? Because research showed that it reduces aggression and even calms the nervous system of inmates. And guess what? It worked. Suddenly, the fights went down, tempers cooled, tensions dropped, all because of one color. That's the power of one color in our lives. That's the power of color changing entire human behavior without a single word. I have another very, very fascinating story to share with you all. This fascinating story is about a little cafe that kept getting complaints that the coffee isn't hot enough. So the owners did what any sensible cafe would do. They checked the machines, the temperature, and each time the temperature was perfect. So the owners became worried what to do next. When suddenly the sweeper of the cafe noticed something no one else had. The cafe walls were painted blue. Now, blue is a cool color. It subconsciously makes you feel cooler, calmer, and relaxed. So the owners decided to repaint the cafe in warm shades of orange. Nothing else changed. Not the coffee, not the cups, not the machines, but suddenly the complaint stopped. The temperature hadn't changed, but the perception had. People felt that the coffee was warmer simply because the place looked warmer. That's the power of color in our lives. Sometimes all it takes is changing the color of our surroundings to change the color of our minds. The same logic applies everywhere and in every field. We design for beauty where we want attention and forget it where comfort still matters. And yet, look around our cities. Most public spaces remain dull, grey, lifeless. They drain emotions, energy, and creativity every single day. We blame infrastructure, but sometimes all we need is intention. Here's the exciting part. Change doesn't require skyscraper budgets. A coat of paint, a thoughtful pattern, a deliberate choice. That's all it takes to transform a school, a hospital, a bus stop, and even a public toilet. And honestly speaking, if we can paint walls for election campaigns overnight, we can do this too. Every wall, every corridor, every corner can speak the right words to our brain. Together, we can create a city where every wall inspires, every corridor calms, every space uplifts. Classrooms where children sparkle with curiosity, hospitals where patients feel peace, streets where commuters feel energy, and even public toilets that surprise you with delight, art, or learning. Our urban spaces should be life, not grey monotony. Next time you walk into a room, pause, look, feel, notice the colors around you, and ask yourself, is this space speaking to me or ignoring me? Because sometimes a splash of color is all it takes to transform not just a wall, but the way we feel, think, and live. So, the question I leave with you all today is, what kind of world do you want to wake up to? One drained of life and energy, or one that reflects the richness of nature? Every color has a choice. The choice is ours. This is the vision of the urban palette. Thank you and have a nice day.